Okay, I am live. Last time I tried to do this a couple of days ago, it didn't work because the VPN was kind of messing with me, and I'm sorry for that. There were a couple of people waiting for me to get on, and for some reason the VPN wouldn't connect for a couple of hours. So here I am. I'm back from Vietnam, and I thought I'd chat with you good people. I have a night off. I am slightly under the weather, so I'm not out or doing anything crazy tonight. I'm still recovering from a really nasty cold that I had earlier this week, and I'm still recovering my shoulder as well. So it's just a quiet night in today. So I thought I'd hang out with you fine people. So with that being said, it is Spring Festival time here in China, and it's very, very quiet. Zhongshan, there's nobody here. I came home a couple days ago. I got off the ferry in Zhuhai and then took a DD up here. And when I got to the college, there was literally nobody here. It was super quiet. The only people here now are security guards and myself. So walking around the campus is like a ghost town. It's kind of eerie, but at the same time, especially in the morning when you wake up, it's super quiet. And coming from Vietnam, where it's always noisy. I mean, people talk about how polluted and noisy China is. And yeah, there are places where it's like that. But Vietnam is extremely noisy. I mean, there's motorbikes everywhere. Here in Zhongshan, at least, you have e-bikes and cars, and so the roads are relatively quiet compared to that of Vietnam. So, oh, let me turn on the chat so I can see here. Here we go. There we go. So who all's out there? Welcome. Good to see you. Hey, how's it going? Hey. So yeah, I've spent a little over 2 weeks in Vietnam. I spent a couple days in Ho Chi Minh City. They still call it Saigon down there, but they're trying to get it transitioned more to Ho Chi Minh. But the locals at least call it Saigon still. And then from there I went to Da Nang, which I absolutely loved, and then Hanoi after that. So Ho Chi Minh was a great sound. I had a lot of fun there. It was great. Da Nang was freaking awesome. I loved that place. I can't wait to go back. And I absolutely hated Hanoi. Hanoi was terrible. Oh, from Mexico. Cool. How's it going? What part of Mexico are you from? Yo se habla español. Back into China, and all the students have left. Youngmin is the same. All of my fellow expats have gone home, and the students are back in their hometowns. It's a ghost town. Yeah, I've been to Jiangmen during this time too, and it's kind of eerie. It really is, but at the same time, kind of pleasant. If the expats are still around, you know, it's kind of have the whole town to yourself. You can really enjoy it. So here, hold on 1 second. Jake, you're in Jiangmen? Is that right? Are you a teacher in Jiangmen, Jake? Forgive me, I'm still recovering from my cold. I had a really nasty cold for a long time. And Mutsuneri, is that how you say that? De Santiago? Jimenez? What part of Mexico are you from, dude? Let me know. It's not working. Hold on. It always takes like a couple minutes to get this just right, get it up and running and going. If it works at all, I mean. There we go. Cool. All right, there we go. Okay. So yeah, again, Hanoi, I got sick in Hanoi, mostly because it was just so dirty. The pollution there is insane. It was a cold kind of winter time there. And the pollution, I mean, just walking down the street, you couldn't eat the street food or sit in a roadside cafe because the pollution from the motorbikes going by was so bad, it just ruined it. And it would hurt your eyes and you'd feel it in your lungs, and it was just not any fun. And I went for a motorbike trip myself into the mountains to a national park. And when I got into the mountains, it was so cold and I wasn't prepared for the cold. And it was about a 3 hour ride there and a 3 hour ride back. And I got sick from it. It made me sick. I am from Aguas Calientes. It's in the center of the country. I'm not familiar with that. Hot water. So that's nice. Thank you for watching me from Mexico. I'm curious, what do you do in Mexico, man? You know, I love Mexico. I've only visited Mexico City once. Other than that, most of my time has been in Baja. You know, just coming down from Southern California, spending a lot of time in Ensenada, La Bufadora, places like this. And my baby sister has a lot of experience on the west coast of Mexico. She sailed her boat down all the way down the coast there for a long, long time. It's one of those places I'd love to go to someday, dude. But yeah, for the next 4 weeks or so, I am stuck here in Zhongshan. I'm not going home because the American government is, they say it's reopening, but it really, you know, it can shut down again in 2 weeks. It's kind of a pain in the ass. So I can't get what I need to get done. So I'm going to stick around here. I thought about renting a car, but all the businesses are closed. I can't rent a car until after the Spring Festival. If I do, it would cost way too much money. It's something like 300 RMB a day, whereas I can get it for a third that cost if I just, you know, if I wait till after the Spring Festival. And I plan on driving around Guangdong and checking it out a little bit. But I don't start my classes again till the end of the month. So I have a lot of free time just to hang out. And again, there's nobody here. It's very quiet. I have a question for you. I'm an English teacher, but I want to teach something related to education, not English. What do you suggest to do? I'm closer to get a PhD in education. Wow. Obviously, I want to teach in China. You can. Again, most of the people who teach here teach English. But if you want to teach another subject, such as Spanish, believe it or not, there is a growing demand for Spanish here in China. Everyone talks about English and the demand's really high there, but Spanish is another one that you can teach. And then you can teach subjects in Spanish. You can teach like business in Spanish or education in Spanish or health in Spanish. And a lot of the international schools mostly focus on English, but if you go to a university, especially a large university, you can teach many, many different things in Spanish. There's a big demand for it. A lot of people ask me, and I have many Chinese friends who speak Spanish, that they don't speak English. And my Spanish is absolutely shit. So I try to talk to them in Spanish and it doesn't work out too well. But yeah, again, it's not just English-speaking countries that Chinese people are doing business with. They're increasingly more and more involved in South America, in Central America, and so Spanish, very, very good idea. You can really get a good niche for it too, because it's the market is flooded with English, but there's hardly anyone here that speaks Spanish. And I've met Spanish people from Argentina and from Costa Rica here in Zhongshan who work for Chinese companies, and their job is to, you know, do business with their home country. So check that out. And of course, Mexico. I'm pretty sure Mexico is a big trading company, big trading partnership as well, because one of the largest companies here in Zhongshan is called Wistrom, and because of the new tariffs that Trump has put in place with America, they are actually, and for products coming from China, they're moving some of their production lines to Juarez. So a lot of the Chinese engineers that are here have stopped learning English and are trying to learn Spanish because they're going to be living in Juarez. Many of them will live across the border in El Paso, but the plant itself is in Juarez, and a lot of manufacturing is going to Juarez or just outside of Juarez. So there's some opportunity for you. As far as, can you give me is there something more specific you want to teach, such as maybe history or something like that? You know, what's your PhD? Your PhD is in education. Mhm. Um, yeah, that's a good point, dude. My shoulder is still killing me. I got this pad on it, this thing here, and it stinks like hell. It's like an icy hot. I got this. Let me show you what it looks like. It's this shit. Um, I have all kinds of medications here. Check this out. God. So you cannot get Western medications in China when you're sick. So you have to find the Chinese equivalent to it, and oftentimes everything gets lost in translation. So this is like icy hot pads for your muscles, and it's essentially the same thing. But of course, everything, as you can see, everything is in Chinese, the instructions and stuff. So I have a lady friend that helped me out with this one, but but they're very cheap. Over the counter medications are super cheap. This was 21 RMB, which is what, like $3 for a pack of 10. And then I have this cough syrup, which tastes like shit. It's it's kind of a smoky flavor. It's supposed to be like Robitussin, I guess. But this helped me a lot yesterday when it was really bad. And then this is the antibiotic. And if you go into a Chinese pharmacy, they all look like this. I mean, all the packages are like this size with similar kind of artwork and presentation. It's very difficult to figure it out, but this stuff has been very helpful for me, I guess. Just dropping in to say hello. Keep up the great work, bud. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Like I said, I have a ton of hours of video I'm doing on Vietnam. I hope that you like my Vietnam videos. Many of them are kind of shit. They're just me walking around and saying, "Ooh, look at that! Ooh, look at that." Nothing really too crazy. So the next couple of weeks was just going to be about Vietnam, and then I'll get back into China. Yeah, it has been a really big eye-opening thing for me to go to Vietnam and then come back here. And I appreciate more things about China having been there, but there are some things that were a big eye-opener while being there. It's similar governments, it's similar cultures, but at the same time, so many differences that I'll point them out to you in my upcoming videos. Obviously, I want to participate in something related to teachers training, education, pedagogy, pedagogue. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, dude. I've never heard that before. Let me Google that real quick. Pedagogy, commonly understood as the approach to oh, okay. Well, yeah, there's definitely opportunity for that too. If you want to be a teacher trainer, you can do that. If you're I recommend working at a university for that. There's a lot of opportunity if you want to be a teacher trainer, teacher. They call them normal universities here, and they're everywhere. And they have all different kinds of majors at these universities, but they're basically colleges and universities geared to teaching people how to teach. And there's major ones in all the major cities, and they welcome you in a heartbeat, I'm sure, man. By the way, get well soon. Thank you. I'm better. I am better. My lady friend's pissed off at me because she wanted to come over tonight, and I'm like, I'm not quite 100%. She said, "Well, I'll come over and take care of you." No, just give me one more day to clean myself up. Yesterday, I was stuck in bed all day. I couldn't get out of bed. It was so bad. I'm waiting for my family to get on. They told me that they would get on and say hi. I haven't talked to my family very much. Mm. Yeah, if you can't come teach English if you're from Mexico, you can't. You have to come from what they call a native speaking country, but you can come and teach Spanish. You can come and teach anything in Spanish or a different subject, as you said. If you're going to get a PhD, you can pretty much do whatever you want here. That's if you have high qualifications such as that, come on over. The government will welcome you with open arms. As far as salaries go, my understanding is that the salaries are in line with an English teacher. So they pretty much pay the same if you're a foreign talent in any subject. If you're teaching something like physics or something like that, obviously you get paid a little bit more. I know that that's mostly in the international schools. I'm not sure about universities. I don't know. The university systems here in China they're different. I don't know how else to say it. I'm trying to be polite. They're not the same as they are in the West. Let me put it that way. So I got a couple more people online. Where are you from? Who's out there? Say hi. Who's out there? Again, I'm waiting for my father to come on. He said he was going to say hi to me for a little while. Oh, one more thing. People asked me about my Chinese language acquisition, and God, my shoulder's killing me. My father calls it old man shoulder. And he says, and I looked it up, and apparently, like, if you have this shoulder issue, you just have to wait for it to go away. And that can take a long time. Last time I had it took like 6 months for it to go away. And that was with like doing, a lot of yoga and a lot of therapy on it. Anyways, this is the book that I'm using right now. And this is a cool book. I have maybe 5 books over there to learn Chinese. And this one has been really great because, it's got the pinyin, it's got like conversations, but it also has places for you to practice with the, actually learning how to write the characters. So I'm really enjoying. I just got into it, and I'm really enjoying it. So this is a great one. But again, you just go to any bookstore, you can find a million Chinese books to help you. They're great while you drink coffee. The best way to learn Chinese if you're not in China is actually YouTube. You just type it into YouTube, and that way you can get the listening, you can practice, speaking, and then you have the writing. But the hardest part is the writing. It is the reading, especially traditional characters. They're so complicated and complex. You really have to focus on them. Make sure your glasses are on. Yeah. So what else? I know it's early back there on the West Coast, but it's about 9:20 here in China. Okay, someone asked me about Saigon. Okay, so when I got to Saigon, it was warm. I mean, it's wintertime, but it was very, very warm. And they said the airport was great. The customs agents or the immigration agents were very, very simple. I had an e-visa, just go right in. Got into a taxi, a Venison taxi, and went straight to the hotel, checked in, and it was wonderful. It was super, super easy. You read and you watch other YouTube people and how they have all these problems with taxi cab guys and all this stuff giving you shit. I didn't have any problem at all. I thought it was the easiest thing ever. Because you could talk with people in Chinese a little bit. My Chinese has gotten to the point where I can have very simple conversations, such as, hello, what do you do for a living? Where do you live? How long have you lived there? Things like this. I can go shopping. I can order food in a restaurant and things like this. So I have what they call survival Chinese, but I've noticed I went to a Chinese movie a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching it, and many of the phrases that they use in the movies, I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize that. So it's really good to see how the the phrases are used in conversation when you watch Chinese TV or Chinese movies. That way you can just do that when you're out with your friends and stuff like that. Alice, where are you from, dude? Where are you? Alice, where are you from? Have you learned to play mahjong yet? No, I haven't. They tried to teach me once. I was there for for maybe 5 minutes, and I was completely lost. I was busy. My mind was other places. So mahjong is not my game. Yeah. Oh, you're in China. What part of China are you from, Alice? I'm listening to 70s music this time. Last time was 80s. Player, baby, come back. Anyways, yeah. Nanjing. Did I talk to you once before, Alice? I think, yeah, Nanjing is on my hit list of places to go. The history there is, I want to go to that Nanjing Museum really, really bad, the Holocaust Museum there. I have a friend of mine who flies for Shenzhen Airlines. She says that it's one of the best places in China to go. Speak of the devil, that's her.
Yes, I think travel the Chinese government.
We're having a talk about internet freedom in China. That was a thing that really hit me hard when I went to Vietnam. You know, I was expecting YouTube and Facebook to all be blocked, and it wasn't. Everything worked. It was insane. It was great. And I uploaded a video from YouTube uh, from the hotel, and it took like 3 minutes, something that would take 3 hours to do here in China. And you know, just out and about walking around, I was able to converse in real time on Messenger with my family back home. I didn't have to connect to any kind of VPN or anything. That was really, really great. It permeates the rest of society there. I noticed that they have a lot more. I don't know. They just seem to be more in tune with world pop culture than those here in China. China is still very much a closed off society when it comes to the internet, and that's why there's such a demand for people to come in and teach them English and things like that. Whereas in places like Southeast Asia, there's not as much demand because you get a lot of backpackers and things like that. No, we haven't talked before. Okay, well, nice for you to watch. Thank you so much. It's good to have you. Hold on one sec. I gotta make this girl happy. I know. She wanted to come over tonight, but I'm not feeling well enough, unfortunately. I am feeling a lot better than ever, so. Again, it's my fault. I got sick because I was being stupid in Hanoi. So, anyways, let's go back to that. When I got to Saigon, I went out for some fun. I was just blown away there. First of all, the traffic is insane, but you know, I'm kind of used to that. But it was more insane than it is in most of the other places that I've been to, and it was just noisy. There was just noise everywhere. But I was in District 1, and I spent a couple days. It was warm during the day and nice and cool in the evening. Again, it's winter. I can't imagine that place in the summertime. I think the summer would be ridiculously, unbearably hot there with the humidity and everything. I mean, during the day in the wintertime, it was hot and sticky. And I mean, in my videos, you'll see I'm sweating up a storm. So I can't imagine that place in the summertime. But I loved it. And I walked around a lot. I met up with some friends and hung out a little bit. But, and then I went to Da Nang. Now, Da Nang was freaking awesome. It's about 1.5 million people, but it's right on the beach. It's surrounded by mountains. It's kind of got it felt like back home. It felt like Orange County, California a lot because you had it wasn't just Vietnamese food, which is fantastic. They had Chinese food, you had Japanese food. There were a couple of Mexican places. I went and ate street tacos almost every night. And dollar tacos that were fantastic with fresh seafood. And there's a bar on every corner. They love to drink in Da Nang. It's a huge tourist town. And I went to some of the outskirts, of the Da Nang, and it's some of the surrounding areas are rather poor, I have to admit, but they have their own charm. But here's another thing I noticed: everyone smiles at you there. The people are so friendly. You walk down the street, people don't stare at you like, "Who are you? Who are you?" They smile and go, "Oh, look at you." It's just a different feeling you get from the locals. I went to Marble Mountains, which is a giant tourist trap. It's an old um, kind of a Buddhist temple complex in the south part of Da Nang. And a lot of tourist traps, a lot of touts and stuff trying to sell you souvenirs and things. But still really, really beautiful, really cool place to go check out. I went to Hoi An. I didn't get too much time in Hoi An. I only spent an afternoon there. And I had plans that evening, so I didn't stay at night. Apparently, Hoi An comes alive at night. So that's another place I'd like to spend more time at. But the ride down to Hoi An was beautiful on the motorbike. I recommend that trip to anybody. And then the next day, I went out to Bana Hills. Bana Hills is an old French village that's about an hour and a half ride into the mountains, and it was built for the wealthy French and Vietnamese back in the day, like 100 years ago. And since then, it has been taken over by something called like Sun World. I think it's called Sun World. It's like a tourist company, and they turned it into a theme park of sorts. I don't know. They have a little children's area for rides, but they have these gondolas that'll take you many gondolas take you all the way up to the top of the mountain where it is. And when you get there, it's like a French village theme park. You got a little mini church, and there's like little mini hotels and restaurants, and you go there, you eat tons of food, and you take lots of pictures, and that's about it. But it's surrounded by some of the most beautiful natural scenery with waterfalls, and I mean, it was rain. It rained on me coming down the mountain, but you can see that on a clear day, that would be absolutely gorgeous to just walk around. They have hiking trails everywhere. I can't wait to go back. And there's a water park up there too with hot springs and stuff. Because it was raining, I didn't have a chance to patronize that place. I would love to go back there again and just go hiking again. I didn't. I only had 4 days in Da Nang. I did not do the Haivan Pass, which is the famous one made famous by the what is it called? The Top Gear, I think it is. It's supposed to be one of the most beautiful motorcycle rides in the world, and it goes from Da Nang up to Hue. I didn't have time. I was on my way to do it, but a storm came in and it rained me out, and I didn't have the proper gear to ride in that kind of weather. So I elected not to do it. It'll have to be something I do in the future. Maybe I'll go back to Da Nang. I can't go back to Da Nang. My visa's up. I have to get a new visa. Okay, who else is out there, guys? Say hi. Again, I'm waiting for my family to get on. Hopefully they get on soon. Love to say hi to them. Who doesn't love Elton John? All right, don't tell anybody. This will be our little secret. Okay, all of the one of you that's watching me right now. But even though I'm under the weather, I think that's okay to have me a little rum. That'll be okay, right? As long as I don't get drunk, there's a little rum and Coke, I think, just to take the edge off for the night. You can drink a little when you're sick, right? There we go. Okay. All right. Cheers, everybody. Unwanted Jason. Hello, sir. Why are you unwanted? Where are you from, Jason? I love to talk to people from all over the world, man. Cheers. All right, so again, I explored Da Nang. I explored all the. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm thinking of jumping ship and going to live in Vietnam. Um, it's a very big possibility for me, and I was down there, kind of scoping out, seeing what life would be like, the teaching scene and the living scene and cost of living and everything. And it's very doable. It's a little overrun. There's a lot of backpackers. But I think the opportunity there is definitely there. It's a growing market, really is. Who's this? Little River Band. Okay, who doesn't love them, right? I'm from China. I'm half adopted. How do you be half adopted, dude? Steve, how you doing, man? Okay, you've got me started on this trend of watching videos of African Americans in Asia. Some people sound like it's a lot. How often do you come across other Americans outside of teaching? Quite a bit, actually. Man is short for Vietnam. Nam is short for Vietnam. That's right. I have Nam stories. Steve, good to hear from you, brother. There's a guy I know. I don't know him, but I've been following him for a long time. He changed his his channel to Black in Asia or something like this. It was Loser Lawai in China for a long time, and he's a very very smart guy, and he's been in China for a long time. He gets a lot of shit from local Chinese because he's extremely opinionated about China, but him being an American, he spews his opinion, whether it be good or bad. But yeah, he's got a very unique insight into what life is like, being in China. He's got a Chinese wife, and so but being black in China. He recently went to Thailand, and he was there. He had a horrible experience and came back. He lives in Shanghai. Really, really cool guy. So I recommend his channel because he does a lot of commentary on news stories, and he doesn't hold back, and he really lets his opinion flow a lot. He's an interesting watch. But I come across a lot of other Americans, especially here in Zhongshan. Most of the Americans I meet are not teachers. They're engineers. They're foreign trade people. They're business people. A couple of them work in finance, especially if you're in the larger cities like Guangdong or Shenzhen. You'll find a lot of tech people, a lot of coders, a lot of engineers, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of investors, things like this. The vast majority of foreigners in China are English teachers, but they come from all over the world. They come from South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Many of the Americans that I know and met here, I'd say about half of them are teachers, and then the other half do a variety of different things and work for different types of companies. Some of them are self-employed. I'm African American in China. Oh, you are? Cool, dude. Yeah, I've got some. I've got some black friends here in Zhongshan that have a different perspective of things. There's certain things that happen to them that don't happen to me, and we share our stories, and so it is a different experience. Yeah, I know some people. I mean, they tell me that there's racism involved, and there is, and I know Chinese people who are scared of black people. It's unfortunate, but it's not necessarily a racism thing. I just think it's ignorance of race. In America, obviously, it's we're very used to it. I'm coming from Southern California, of races of all kinds, so it's normal. But here, it's so homogenous to see different races around. They have really false stereotypes, even for white people. So, for example, I have a black friend. He's from Canada, and he was telling me last time we were at dinner, and he's like, "Yeah, when I first came here, the person who picked me up at the airport, he wouldn't let me into the car because he didn't believe me that I was from Canada because I was black." I was like, yeah, of course there's black people in Canada, right? So you had to show him the passport and listen to my voice. I am from Canada. So you have You have things like that, and it's just ignorance. And ignorance is not a bad thing. It just means they don't have experience or exposure to it. Yeah. Steve, are you thinking of coming to Asia sometime, man? Is that something on the horizon for you, Steve? Again, if you're in one of the major cities, it doesn't matter. Most of the major cities here are extremely cosmopolitan. You know, you walk down the street, you're not going to have anything. In fact, if you go to Guangzhou, most of the black people in Guangzhou are actually from Africa. There's a very large African community there. Hmm. Here's the other thing: if you're a mixed race, I, most people don't know, but I've got a little, Spanish in me. People don't see that; they just see red hair and you can't have Spanish. Of course you do. They don't understand mixed races or multicultural world or multicultural countries. So I know a guy here in Zhongshan recently came, and when I first met him, I was like, "What kind of mix are you, dude?" Because he's very unique looking, right? And he's black and Japanese. It's called Blackanese, right? But most people look at him, they think he's like Mexican or something. So, you just laugh it off and explain it to them. They're pretty good with it. That's right. I heard you got married, man. Too much going on. I have become good friends with someone from China. I forgot which town, but I've been asking her questions. Uh-oh, her. Guangdong province has been China's manufacturing industry area, provide most of the products for the world, I think. Yeah, that's true. This whole area. Um, it's the especially it's not just it's the five dragons, Shenzhen, Dongguan, Guangzhou, Zhongshan, Zhuhai. And you include Foshan in there, even Jiangmen. There's all the manufacturing. And it's this area, and it's the area around Shanghai as well that does a lot of manufacturing, pretty much everywhere. Chinese are really racist. Well, that's a very blanket statement. I can't say that all Chinese are racist. I think that they're more curious. And again, it's ignorance of race. It's not necessarily I hate these people or I hate those people. It's more like I don't know enough about these people or I only know about black people from what I see in movies, because they have no exposure to it. It's such a homogenous society. And again, it's still very closed off. They don't have access to the same internet that we do. So whether it be black or Indian or South American, the false stereotypes seem to be out and about in society a little bit. And so the more that they're introduced to these types of cultures, the more they realize and they learn. So, and it's again, I don't think it's necessarily racism. It's just ignorance of race, not being exposed to it. If your only impression of black people comes from movies, you have to understand why they feel that way. It's true. I mean, I have a lady friend who told me that she was scared of black people. And I said, why? She's like, well, aren't they all, gangbangers and stuff? And that's what I see in the movies. I'm like, no. Again, their only exposure to these cultures are what they see in the movies and in, the few videos and TV shows that come through. So again, it's not racism. It's just they don't have the exposure to what it really is. All they see is the stereotypes that are propagated in society. Blatant racist discrimination. Here in Beijing, most of the teachers in the suburbs are dark skinned. Interesting. They're dark skinned or they're not dark skinned. That's another there is a racism element in teaching here. I've seen it firsthand myself. You see advertisements for it that they want white teachers, white only, or things like this. Or I have a teacher from South Africa who's black, and people ask, "Where are you from?" I say South Africa. Oh, South Africa. And they don't realize that South Africa is a English-speaking country. So it's they think that only white people speak English, and of course that's not the case. Again, it's just they're ignorant. They don't know any better, and so that the more they're exposed to it, and as China opens up, the more people of different cultures come in, the more you're going to see this fall by the wayside. You're seeing it a lot less and less. There was a great article recently on how they have a phenomenon here in China called the white monkey job, which is basically if you're a white person, you go and you um, be a model or something, or you pretend to be some kind of investor from the West, and or you're an actor and you get paid money for this. And there's these things are less and less as society starts to realize that it's not really a thing. And now the government's really cracking down on it. Yeah, it's not their fault. In the Western media, mainly the Jews and whites' fault. I I won't necessarily deny that, but I don't want to point blame. I honestly just think it's a result of them being a closed off society for so long, and they're just now starting to open up, and they're starting to realize that there's a lot more nuance to race, than what you see in media, because the Chinese states has still been closed up from the outside of the world in terms of information internet. That is right, Jason. That's exactly right. Again, and they are opening up now. They can't open up 100% overnight. That would just ruin the country. So I think actually the government's probably been doing a smart thing. They've been slowly opening up things here and there. They've been closing off things here and there as they open up other parts of society. But I think in time it will continue to open up and get better and better. Just look at how Americans think of people from India. They are stereotyped merciless. Yes, they are. I work in IT, so yes, you do. And um, those stereotypes are also here in China as well about Indian people. And of course, Indians are like the most peaceful people ever, right? But the biggest stereotype about Indian is the accent. The Indian. I have this question in my class: what is the hardest accent to understand? And my accent is very easy for them to understand because I'm from Southern California, where movies and TVs are made. But they almost always will say it is the Indian English accent that is almost impossible for them to understand. So I tell them that's why you need to listen to them more, because they are an English speaking country. There's a billion people there, and it's not wrong English. It's just a different accent in English, like a Southern accent or a New York accent or a Canadian accent. You need to, listen to it and understand that even more. English isn't just one accent. I just tolerate the racism so that I can save the sweet Chinese. Well, you've got a good attitude. If you kind of almost have to laugh it off. I mean, I get it myself as a white guy. I get stereotypes all the time, especially as an American. Oh, you love guns and you love Donald Trump and you're super sexually promiscuous, all this kind of crap. I get that a lot. China is closing up and becoming nationalistic. I hope we foreigners can survive. I feel that a little bit. I think a lot of the tension, it's very minor. It's always been nationalistic here. I think that it will always be national. There's an awful lot of nationalistic pride in China, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I know a lot of Chinese soldiers who, they're like brothers in arms to me. And I tell them how much I love America, and I'm a proud American, and so they understand that we're not fighting in that sense. We're brothers in arms. Are the Dodgers likely to make the playoffs next season? Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, go Dodgers. We'll see. It's the Dodgers the last two seasons. It's kind of been disappointing. We made it to the World Series, and I've watched almost every game, and I've loved watching the World Series. But we've lost two series in a row, and we can do it again. we've made the playoffs like 7 years in a row now, and we still have a great team. I'm hoping we can do it again. I'm sure we can. But I think the National League West division is probably one of the toughest divisions. I think it is the toughest division in the National League, at least. But you've got a lot of teams in the American League that are just amazing teams. The Astros have been killing it. The Yankees, I'm surprised they didn't make it further in the playoffs last year. But I mean, getting past the American League is always going to be a tough thing. Just look at the All-Star games. The American League always beats the crap out of the National League in the All-Star game. My poor Braves can't get past the Dodgers. Well, Steve, your Braves headed it to us pretty nicely in the '90s. I think you were the most dominant force. I mean, I remember, you had all those. What do you got, Glavin and God, I can't remember all the Schmaltz and all those pitchers that we just couldn't get past. And you dominated the entire National League. I remember back in the day when the National League was only two divisions. You had the Western and Eastern, and for some reason Atlanta was in the Western division. That didn't make any sense. You used to be the biggest Braves fan. Well, what happened? Oh, you're from Atlanta too. Okay, cool. So Steve's in Atlanta, and hi, Ren, you're from Atlanta. A colleague of mine is also from Atlanta. He's the guy I was telling you, he's half black, half Japanese. He's a teacher here now, and he's also from Atlanta. He used to be an Atlanta police officer. Yeah, the 95. I remember the 95 championship, man. Are the stories about rowdy Dodger fans accurate in terms of beating up Oakland San Francisco fans? Not anymore. Back in the day where we had Manny Ramirez and a different owner, that owner, Frank McCourt, really cut back on security and at the stadium. Because when I'd been going Dodger games my whole life. Even as a kid, I would go to 20 games a year. My family had season tickets, and we would. It was always kind of a picnic atmosphere. You can go there. It was very safe. You never saw LAPD at the Dodger games because you didn't need to. I mean, out in the bleachers was a little bit more rowdy because I don't know that there's the crowd out there is a lot more rowdy. But as far as in the stadium itself, it was just wonderful. And then the Frank McCourt days came, and you saw less and less security, and there was just, I don't know, that the fandom changed. And so that those days when they beat up that one San Francisco fan, that was such a black stain for our Dodger fans. It was really bad. But since then, since the new ownership, the Guggenheim Group came over and bought the team, there's been a massive change in the stadium. Now they have more security. The fans seem to be more inclusive and friendly. I mean, if I see a Giant fan, I give them a little shit, sure, because it's fun. But at the end of the day, if they beat us on this team, I don't go, oh, San Francisco sucks. I don't do that kind of crap. Most of the Dodger fans I know, it's a friendly rivalry. We're not going to beat somebody up. And when I went to New York, I proudly wore my Dodger hat. And, the Met fans were giving me high fives. If I go to San Francisco, I wear my Dodger hat, and the Giant fans, they give me a little shit, but it's like a friendly little poke, And at the end of the game, we're all baseball fans, and that's the most important. Yes, Greg Maddux, that was him. Yeah, amazing pitcher. I think it was Maddux, Schmaltz, Glavin. I want to say another guy named Avery or something. You guys had like 4 pitchers that were all candidates, and you had that for 3 years straight, and you guys dominated all of pitching. It was insane. I don't think there's been a better pitching staff out there. I mean, even when the Dodgers had Kershaw and Greinke, Kershaw, Greinke. I mean, those top two pitchers, but they didn't have the 3-4-5, a steady 3-4-5 to back them up. Whereas all year round in '95, 94 through '96, you had those 4 pitchers that just blew everyone away. You couldn't get through a 3-game series without losing one. There was no sweeping the Braves. Have you guys been to the new stadium, the new the stadium in Atlanta? Is it any good? It looks pretty. I'm always partial to Dodger Stadium. Now, this is an old shirt. This is from 2017, but it's comfortable. It's cheap. Yeah. Is that what it's called? The Mercedes-Benz? Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Mercedes-Benz Field? It looks pretty. I mean, it's got to be nice. Soccer. Come on. We're Americans. We know soccer is bullshit. Steve Avery. That was his name. Yeah. It was another guy. It was those four guys. Just kick ass. Yeah. But it's not, the stadium it's not downtown. It's like in the suburbs, right? It's not in the downtown area, if I recall. They keep saying that they're going to build, they're building that new football stadium in LA right now for the Rams and the Chargers, which will be great. It looks amazing. I flew over it last time I was home. It looks awesome. Yeah, suburb. David Yen, hello. Good to see you, brother. I've been to Atlanta twice in my life, and both times were both, layovers. I spent like 10 hours here and 12 hours there. I didn't even stay in a hotel. That's not true. I stayed in a hotel one night because Atlanta is a large transition when you're in the service and you're going overseas. For a lot of troops, you fly into Atlanta, and then from Atlanta, you head out to Frankfurt, Germany, and then there you transition to military planes. So Atlanta was always a big hub for the service members flying overseas. And I remember I went there and I stayed overnight in a very nice hotel. The military put us up. And we went out partying that night. This was our last night before we went out to the Middle East. And I had so much fun. I don't recall exactly where I was, but there was a bar street and we just had so much fun, man. I had a good time. But other than that, I hate Atlanta airports. I'm not a fan of it. The Braves Stadium is in the burbs. The Falcons Mercedes-Benz is right next to the old stadium downtown. Okay. So that's how it works. Sunburst, that was it. Sunburst Park is possible to get to in that horrendous traffic. I look at Atlanta, just reminds me of LA without the beach. It's kind of got a similar feel to it, I think. Yeah. Again, I haven't spent much time there, so I couldn't tell you. Again, there's nothing to do here in Zhongshan. It's completely dead right now. The whole town has left, especially where I'm at. Where I live is all factories. And if I walk outside right now, there's not a single person on the street. I mean it literally. There's not a single person on the street. There are no cars. There's no bikes. Occasionally you get a city bus that goes by with nobody in it. There's no truck traffic. All the stores are closed. I mean, right here, all the stores, restaurants, they're all closed, and they're going to be like that for a week. It's insane. It's a ghost town here. The only people here are me and the security guards for the college. That's it. There's no one else. There's one McDonald's is open. The movie theater is open. And there's one restaurant, my American Pie Pizzeria. It's owned by an American. He'll be open through the Spring Festival. I think Walmart might be closed one day. They're still open. Atlanta sucks because there isn't a real entertainment district. Like a downtown. Well, you have downtown. Is downtown an entertainment? I don't know. When I was there, I was in the downtown area. And there was a bar street that we had a great time on. We lived in the former West Germany when I was young. I'm slowly teaching myself German using a phone app for a trip back someday. Steve, you want to go back to Germany? Germany's awesome, dude. It's beautiful there. I want to go visit. I've been to Frankfurt. In Frankfurt, I spent 3 days in Frankfurt, and I loved it. It was great. The one thing that tripped me out the most when I was there is I got into a taxi cab, and it was a BMW 5 Series. Like people spend $50,000, $60,000 for this back in the States. Here's a taxi cab. It just blew me away. But I hear Berlin is actually like one of the coolest places to go to in Germany. I have a summer coming up, guys, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. If I stay here at the college and teach next year, then I'm going to do about a month backpacking someplace. Probably not Southeast Asia. I was thinking about Europe. And so Germany would be on my list for that. No, there is not a convenience store open. The convenience store here is closed. The pharmacy across the street, uh, it was open today, but they told me they were closing tomorrow and through the weekend, and they might reopen like Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So nothing's open. I have food, so I'll live. I have my e-bike, so I can go downtown. Again, where I'm at, it's completely dead because it's all factories. If you go to one of the larger cities or the downtown area, the malls will be open, hotels are open. There are some restaurants in the malls that will be open, but many of them will be closed. All the family businesses are completely shut down. But if you have large chains, like a Pizza Hut, they'll be open. But again, there's no Pizza Hut. There's a McDonald's that will remain open, but I don't want to eat at McDonald's. Been there twice. Berlin is less expensive. That surprises me. I would think Berlin would be very expensive. We lived in Nuremberg. That stadium where you see Hitler giving speeches is where our high school football games were. No fucking way. That's amazing. That's a story to tell. Do you have pictures of that, Steve? That'd be awesome. So that stadium is where your high school football games are played. That's crazy, man. Yeah, everything is shut down for Chinese New Year. It's different world here. The Chinese New Year in China is similar to Christmas, only it's a long period of time. Back home, Christmas is like from Christmas Day to New Year's Eve. That 1 week, many businesses are shut down. But in America, you have all these chain stores that remain open. So you can still like go to Walmart and go to the movies and go to restaurants and go have some fun. Many bars are open and things like that. In China, it's not like that. In the bigger cities, things will stay open. But in smaller cities like mine, it is a ghost town, completely dead. I can walk into the middle of the avenue right in front with my drink and sit down in the middle of the street, lie down, look at the stars, and nothing will come by for an hour. It's really crazy. Where do they all go? They all go back to their hometown. It's all the factory workers here, unless you're a top engineer or in foreign trade and sales, you go back to your hometown. Remember, most of China has migrated to the big cities in the last, 15, 20 years. And so all those families and all those migrant workers go back to the villages that they're from. So it's the largest migration. It's the largest animal migration in history, not history. It's the largest one in the world, basically, because I did a video about it a couple of years ago when I was in Xiaolan, because the same thing happened in Xiaolan. The entire town closed down. And I got video. They have, like in LA, they have helicopter reports and videos of like the traffic on the freeways and everything. Here, during Spring Festival, they have the same thing with helicopter and traffic reports for the lines to get onto the high-speed trains and the buses. There's these massive, Disneyland type of lines to get through security or into the train stations for all the people going home for Spring Festival. Everyone, and then of course the highways are completely packed with cars. So the cities empty out during this time, and everyone goes home. And you think about how big China is, think about how big LA is and all the traffic. Imagine China with over 1.4 billion people all traveling at the same time. Most of the rich Chinese people leave China and they go on vacation. They go to South Korea, they go to Japan. Well, continue watching, yes. They go to South Korea, they go to Japan. Most of my friends have gone to Thailand. They go to Vietnam. They go to they just travel outside of China and they take their whole family with them. But the vast majority of Chinese people go home to where their grandparents are and their family villages. So yeah, if you go out to the village area and you walk through the villages, you'll see like a young lady in her 20s, and she's wearing a beautiful dress and high heel shoes with a, the Louis Vuitton kind of bag, walking walking through the farm trying to get to her family's house. You see that a lot. You a complex I used to live in Changsha had several units get ransacked during spring. Oh, interesting. That surprises me. That because crime is not a big thing here. So they got ransacked, meaning they were cleared out. I can imagine that happening. Because they're empty. I mean, the apartment building I'm in right now, I'm the only one here. It's a 6-story apartment building. There may be 50 apartments in this one building, and it's just one of many buildings. And granted, I'm on the college campus, but everyone's gone. If I wanted to, I can ransack every one of the apartments around me, and there's no one here to stop me. Yeah, of course. You can visit Chongqing during summer vacation. I could. That's right. I spent 2 days in Chongqing. I loved it. Summer vacation. If I stay in China, again, everything is up in the air. I don't know what I'm going to do for the summer. I have to make my decision in the next couple of months. My options are to stay at the college. If I stay at the college, then I will have a 3-month vacation to travel. And part of it will be Chongqing, Chengdu, Xi'an, Beijing, Tianjin, Harbin, things like that. Also make a trip home. But if I don't stay at the college, then I'll either have another gig for the summer here in China, one that pays a little bit more money. I'm working on that. Or I will leave China. That's another option. That's one of the reasons why I went to Vietnam, is to check out, is that a place I want to live? I haven't watched all your Vietnam videos. I've only got 3, dude, so don't worry about it. What was your general impression versus what you expected beforehand? Great question. It was better. I knew I was going to love it, but it was better than I expected, especially the food. I love Vietnamese food, but I was blown away by the food. I mean, it's plentiful and cheap and healthy and so delicious and diverse. Lots of green vegetables. It was just so good. I pigged out, dude. I ate so much, and I don't think I gained any weight either, because it really is healthy food. The first thing that hit me was the weather is warmer. It's hotter there. I went to Saigon first, Ho Chi Minh. So in the winter, even it's humid and hot, and it was too much. I can't imagine what summer is like in Saigon. I don't think I would survive. Me with my pasty white skin, I'd fry in the sun, I'm sure. So it probably was not the best place for me to live. I love the motorbike culture there. I think the motorbike culture there is really great. You can really go anywhere and do anything. There's a lot of freedom. I mean, the internet works. I felt more free and just relaxed there, and people smiled. They didn't, again, I've talked about this before. They didn't look at you with like this suspicious look on, who's this foreigner? It was more like, hey, who's this foreigner? They were very friendly and wonderful. I loved the people there. They were just great. Fun atmosphere. That is a city. Saigon is a city where things are happening. It's bustling. It's growing. It's doing awesome. But again, the heat is the only thing that will keep me away from that. And the pollution. When you walk down the street, because there's so many motorbikes. I mean, here in China, you have e-bikes and have cars and stuff, but you don't smell the exhaust. In Vietnam, every street you smell the exhaust from the motorbikes, and it hurts your eyes and your lungs. I hated Hanoi because of that, and so that was the things that really, give me my impressions when I first got there. Why did you choose to live in southern China over northern part? I had the choice. I could have gone to Ningbo, which I guess is central China, but I chose southern China because of its easy access to the rest of Asia. Zhongshan is a clean city, and it's big enough, and it's close to the major cities. It's easy transportation all throughout the Pearl River Delta, and I'm right across the bay from Hong Kong Airport, which in the world there are fewer airports other than Hong Kong Airport, maybe the Singapore Airport, but Hong Kong Airport is one of the best airports in the world to connect anywhere in the world, cheapest and most convenient. And I'm an hour away. And so that's why I chose Zhongshan. And it's green and I love it here. The weather is great. I mean, and the air is not polluted. And just the location seemed to be better for me. I'm right across the way from Hong Kong, and 30 minutes on the high-speed train to Macau, and 30 minutes to Guangdong. It's great. I saw another video of a guy giving advice about going to Thailand. He was vehement about not letting anyone know how much money you have. Yes, he's right. Don't let anyone know how much money you have in any place you go. I mean, you're just a target. You know, when I travel very light. I don't wear expensive clothes. I grow my beard out, and I try to blend in like I'm a poor backpacker. You know, I stay at nice hotels, but I definitely don't, you know, get expensive cars. I take cheap taxi cabs, or I walk everywhere. If you're going around blowing money everywhere, then you're just a target. People will charge you the foreigner cost of everything. That's travel 101. Look like you belong there. Look like you live there. Look like you know what you're, even if you don't, pretend like you do. Go get that part-time money at Metten during summer vacation. Corey, I can't do that anymore. That's one of the problems with the new tax laws and the new financial laws that have come out in China. They've really put a stop to part-time work because it's technically illegal. You can't do it. You can only work for a company that holds your work permit. You can only have one work permit. And it used to be you could work part-time at another company if you got your work permit's holder written authorization to go work part-time. Now you can't do that. They will not only fine you, but they'll fine the company for hiring you. And they have new ways of catching you. And it's very simple. It's not somebody finding it out. It's a computer looking at your financial records and your income and putting it together. And you really can't skirt the laws anymore here. You can do it. You can probably, if you get paid cash, you can probably do it, but no one's going to pay you cash for that many hours. And paying for things in cash here is just not convenient. There's very few people actually take cash anymore here. It's all electronic payments. Again, you can do it, but it's not worth it because if you get caught, you're done. You're done, and I don't want to be done. He said there were people whose sole purpose was to separate you from your money by whatever means, stealing, making you overpay, etc. Yeah. If you are, I don't know if it's their sole purpose, but remember, if you're a tourist in a tourist area, let's say you go to District 1 in Saigon, there are hotels there and the markets cater to tourists. And they will take advantage of your ignorance of what things really cost. For example, I got a bracelet for my lady friend. And, you know, it's just a nice little like stone, like tiger eye bracelet or something, right? And the lady originally said, oh, $2 million. $2 million. $2 million, like $90. I said, no. I'll give you 400,000. And we negotiated back in price, and I eventually gave her 500,000, which is still too much money. So they always give you a higher price because they think a lot of people don't know any better and they'll just pay it. So they'll take advantage of your inexperience. Taxi cab drivers will do that too. You know, they'll quote you one price, you know, say, it's going to be 35. You know, and you get there and it's really, you know, 50. Oh, forgot, you have to pay the airport parking fee and all these other kinds of things, you know. So just do your research before you go and know what's right. I picture zero air conditioning. No, there's air conditioning everywhere. Buses And here in southern China and Southeast Asia, I saw air conditioning everywhere. You go to any coffee shop, the air conditioning is bustling hard. In northern China, there's no air conditioning. It's all heaters. Just like here in southern China, there's no heaters. It's all air conditioning. So if you have a cold day, like in Hanoi, I had a cold day, but there was no heater in the hotel room, so I froze my ass off that night. It's all miscellaneous. Vietnam is a dump. Some of it is. It's a developing country, man. It's polluted. It's dirty. It's going through its growing pains, especially in Hanoi. I had high hopes for Hanoi. I stayed in the old quarter, and I was thoroughly disappointed in it. It was the air pollution was so bad. I had a mask. I no matter what I did to try to mitigate the air pollution in Hanoi, it wasn't enough, and I got sick. And that's what made me sick. It was terrible. Man, no AC. No, hey, there's AC. Look, Vietnam. Even I went to the three big cities, and all three of those cities, there's air conditioning everywhere. You have to have it. I went to the Reunification Palace, and the design of the building itself, it was built during a time there was no air conditioning, and it's designed to give proper airflow through all the buildings. It's very open air, open concept. So you see that a lot. But in modern businesses and restaurants, there's air conditioning blasting everywhere. Do you know Jiao? Yeah, I know Jiao. I've never met him. He was recent. He was in Hanoi when I was there. Actually, he was riding to and from Halong Bay and went out to Sapa. I didn't get a chance to see him. I saw him on a live stream. Said hi. I would love to meet that guy. He's a very interesting dude. I think his name's Chris. I think I can't remember now. Shoot. But yeah, he lived in Ningbo and had a foreign trade business there. And when his foreign trade business kind of exploded on him, he did a whole series of videos about what happened. He decided to trek around the world on his little trike. So he came through southern China and through Guangdong and then crossed the border into Vietnam. And I don't know where he is right now. I think he's still in Vietnam, in northern Vietnam. An interesting guy. He puts out a video almost every day about the 100 kilometers that he treks on that bike. So good for him. I mean, I would love to have a life like that. But he lives very cheaply, stays in hostels, and yeah, he is in Vietnam right now. He's a crazy guy. He met a guy in a hostel there in the old quarter, and I was staying right down the street from him when I was, there. And it was this Russian guy who's traveling the world on motorbike, and he he was in China trying to get his motorbike across the border to Vietnam, and they wouldn't let him bring his motorbike over. So rather than sell it, he bought a inflatable boat and tried to put the motorbike on the inflatable boat, and then kind of drift down the river to Hanoi. And apparently it didn't work out, and he lost his bike. Yeah, interesting stories of the people you meet. That's another thing. When you stay at the hostels in Southeast Asia, especially, you meet people from all over the world. They have some amazingly crazy stories. These are people that are on the road for months at a time, and if they get lost 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, they don't care because it's just part of their adventure. Some of the things that happen to them, the ways they get through it blows your mind. It makes my stories of travel look like nothing, because I stay in decent hotels and I like a little bit of comfort, nice restaurants. And these guys are really roughing it. They have just like a little backpack that they live off for 2 months. Incredible. That's one of the best things about traveling is meeting those people who are on the road for like 2-3 months at a time. Ah, all right. I need to refill my glass, guys. Where's my? There it is. Excuse me. I got another. Fill this up again. Can you guys hear the music? Chevy Man, Sammy Jones. I like 1970s music. It was a great era for music, the 70s. Last time I did this, it was all 80s. So Hold on, let's see. Hold on, I gotta say hi to her. Gotta keep the lady friend happy. All right. Oh no, Will, I can't read Chinese, dude. What are you saying there, brother? Let's see. Zhong, I only know Zhong. That's the only character I know, man. That was one of the things that I planned on doing for the next turn because I'm gonna have so much free time. Um, I need to. So one of the things that talking about doing a Chinese course online. Is that the lady friend who hates black guys? No, it's not. Again, that girl I was telling you about, she doesn't hate black people. She's just she's never met one. She doesn't know any of them. So she doesn't have. Are you going to celebrate Chinese New Year? Um, no, I cannot read Chinese, man. Sorry. Reading and writing is impossible. My listening skills have gotten pretty good. I can listen and hear. My speaking is starting to get up there with my listening, but reading and writing is still very, very difficult. Are you going to celebrate Chinese New Year? I was invited to go to a village not far from Zhongshan to celebrate Chinese New Year. I don't think I'm going to do that. I was invited to a couple of dinners. Again, one of my lady friends invited me. I haven't decided yet. I could very easily just go to one of the major cities. I can go up to Zhongshan or to Guangzhou and celebrate, or even Macau has a really, really cool party. Or I could just stay here and relax. Again, I'm under the weather. I have a lot of work to do with videos and some housework to do and some other things. So I might just stay here. All right, Steve. That's right. It's morning there, isn't it? Okay. Thanks for good to talk to you, brother. Always good to hear from you, man. Take care. I want to see more of those stories about their high school in Germany. That sounds really, really cool. Let's see. She's saying.
I think because my country support and trend our people's on is want to practice social concept.
It's a girl and I having a debate on socialism. Yeah. Let's talk about that later. Hold on. It's also she says that the reason why the Chinese internet is blocked is because the government wants to promote socialism, and I'm not sure I agree with that. I think it's more like protectionism. Maybe not just protectionism of information, but also for Chinese tech companies. I mean, every country does some form of protectionism, and that's the reason why you have companies so big like Tencent and Baidu is because they don't have the competition of the major tech. All right. Okay. Oh, I lost a bunch of people. Who else is out there? Okay. Okay. So, yeah, there are multiple reasons. It's not one reason or another, Jason. It's definitely extremely more nuanced than what you hear from pundits on CNN and advocates all over the place. There's so many factors that go into all of these laws and rules for every country, not just China. America has the same crap, so it's fine. To say it's this reason or that reason would be an incomplete answer. There's many reasons for it. very complicated and complex. Okay, so finish off. I ended up with Da Nang last time when I went to Hanoi. Immediately when I got to Hanoi, I felt it was a different world there. Um, I thought Hanoi, when I got off the airplane, first of all, it was winter. It was moody and gloomy and polluted. And all of a sudden, the smiles that I saw in the southern part of the country turned to just blank stares. The airport is like 25 kilometers outside the main city. It was a long hog slog to get down there. Um, I thought that it was dirty and loud and polluted and very crowded. I got there on like a Tuesday or something, um, and everyone was out to take my money. That's how I felt. Everything cost double what it cost in the other cities. Renting a bike, the hotel, the food, everything was double the cost because I was staying in a touristy area. I didn't get the feeling when I was in Da Nang or Saigon. I felt it was really on the up and up and on the level. And even like the last night I was there, I'll give you this story. Last night I was in Hanoi. I wanted to have one last really big, expensive, nice Vietnamese meal. So I went to a nice, fancy restaurant. I got dressed up a little bit and walked in. It was early during the first sitting, like 5:30 in the evening, and overlooked the lake. And I said, dinner for one, please. And I like that table right there, please, overlooking the lake. It was a table for two. And the restaurant was empty. And they said, no, no, can't have that one. How about you sit over here at this standing table? I was like, I don't want to sit there. I want to sit by the lake and look at the lake and have a glass of wine and eat a big meal. I mean, it's my last night here. And I went to two restaurants, and neither of them would sit me. And I felt that was just horrible. I was like, look, I'm going to spend a lot of money here. I'll be in and out in 30 minutes. Just let me enjoy a dinner. He said, no, can't do it. You can sit over here if you like. So I ended up just having a simple dinner at a little family restaurant in the old quarter with a bunch of other backpackers. And the food was fantastic. It was great. And I spent a lot of money. So when I was in Saigon and Da Nang, I could go anywhere and sit anywhere I want and eat anything I want. I didn't get any kind of discrimination. And I felt like I got that kind of discrimination in Hanoi. And the old quarter is right next to all the military and the government buildings. And you feel it. You see the military on every corner. You see the black SUVs with the guys with the huge epaulettes, driving around everywhere. It's a completely different feeling in Hanoi than it is in the other cities. Let's go back to this. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the year of the pig. I think there are multiple reasons for them to block internet. I believe Bing is not blocked. Bing was blocked for a day and everyone freaked out. It turned out to be like a mistake, like a technical mistake. But Bing actually adheres to the Chinese tech rules, and it's my go-to. Of course, you don't have Google, so you use Bing for your English internet searches. And when they blocked it, it was like, oh shit, what do you do? Because Baidu's the big one here, but they don't have English services in Baidu. Hey, what's up, man? What's the stream about? Stream is about anything you want it to be, man. I just got back from Nam, Nam, and I'm back in China, recovering from a cold, drinking, and chatting with you guys. What do you want to talk about, Sabu? Did you rate them 1 star on Yelp? No, I didn't. But as I'm putting my videos together, you'll see that these restaurants that I went to, and I tell the story like, look, this is the restaurant I went to. It looked good, had great reviews. The people, at the front were very friendly. I tried to have a seat. They wouldn't seat me. Here are the reasons. Here's the restaurant. So I put them on my YouTube channel at least. And the ones that had really great views, really good meals, and really good experiences, I put those on my YouTube videos as well. Also, in Saigon, I think they knew that I was going to do a video on the Alagon Hotel, so they gave me an upgrade for the hotel. Gaming. No, I don't game. So, where are you from? Originally, I am from Orange County, California, near Los Angeles. That's where I'm originally from. But now I live in Zhongshan, China, Guangdong. Where are you from, Sabu? Excuse me. Oh, this thing. This is my drone, Tello. I've not used it once. I bought it like 6 months ago. I haven't used it once. I've flown it in my apartment a few times, but you know what? And I bought an extender for the Wi-Fi because it's all done through Wi-Fi, and the extender is supposed to increase the video capacity of this, and also you can fly it further. But I haven't played with it. I should play with it more and give you guys some aerial shots of Zhongshan because you can fly it freely in the city. There's no problems. You're from India. Cool, dude. I want to visit India. India's much like China was for me before I came here. India is like so big, it's kind of intimidating because there's so many different languages and so many different foods and different like micro cultures within the country. I'm afraid that it's like going down the rabbit hole. You step 1 foot in and then you have to learn so much more. And I have to really prepare myself for India, I think. Try writing tourist guide to Vietnam. Give the restaurant 1 star. The TripAdvisor seems to be the big thing in Vietnam. Everything is rated on TripAdvisor. Everywhere you go, they give you a little card. Hey, do you have it here? Rate us well on TripAdvisor. I love it. I be your tour guide. You should visit. Well, what part of India are you from? My colleague here, he's a British guy, but he lived in India for like 10 years, and he was in the jewelry business there. And like his brother and a couple of family members live in India still, and he's got a lot of Indian family. You can try DJI. Well, this is a DJI. This is a DJI Telio. I guess it's a partnership with DJI. The bigger ones are just too expensive. I don't have enough experience with the drones to give it too much. Mumbai, very good. North India, yep, it's one of those places I want to go. Hope to see your channel reaching 1,000 subs. Really love vlogs. Thank you so much. Anuj, did I say that right? I'm sorry, Anuj Das. Thanks for your support, buddy. Yeah, I'm getting there. I should get to 1,000 videos within the next couple, or 1,000 subs within the next couple weeks. The subs aren't the big thing. For me, I want to get to the subs, but I just really make these videos because a couple of reasons: to say hi to my friends and family, all of you guys, and say it's a great hobby. I studied film when I was in college. It was my minor, and I really loved that kind of shit. So to be able to make videos is just a hobby. It's fun. Hi, Paul. Jackie, what's up, my old friend? How are you, dear? God, Jackie. The empty malls are interesting. Yes, they are. Jackie, it's good to hear from you. This is the same Jackie I went to high school with, right? Something my keyboard isn't working properly. Sorry, my keyboard isn't working properly. That's fine. Yeah. India is another world. Well, hopefully get there one day. India is great. Been to New Delhi and the surrounding cities. It's a cool experience. Yes. One of the places I thought about going was Sri Lanka. So I want to hit that up. I think that'd be like a good. And I have no knowledge of India at all. I don't know anything about Indian culture. I have a very limited knowledge of the food. It's again, it's so rich and so diverse. It's oh my God, Jackie, yeah, Jackie from Bishkek. I have good memories of you, Jackie. I remember you, dear. How are you? How many? Yeah, we had a good time in Bishkek. I haven't seen you since then, huh? Yeah, you remember too. Are you still in Wyoming, Jackie? And are you still in the service? How many countries have you been to so far? I think my last count was 19. 19 countries. I was hoping to get to 20 or 21 by the end of the year. As I think Japan is on my hit list this year. Again, I loved Vietnam. I'll go back to Vietnam in a heartbeat. Um, no, I'm in Belgium. 16 years this year. God, can you imagine? I often think about Jackie. I often think about what it'd be like if I was still in the service. I would be about 16 years as well. And just a couple of years away from retirement. And seeing the world. I had so much fun. And that deployment was my favorite one, by the way, in Bishkek. Yeah, we had a good time. God, have we changed that much? Have we gotten that much older, Jackie? Are we both the same? I think we're both the same. I have a little bit less hair these days. So yeah, one of my lady friends is trying to get me to go to Japan with her, and I might do that. Japan is it's expensive, but she's Japanese, and so she's got like the insight, and she'd be my tour guide too. So I might do that. Maybe a week this summer. We'll see. There's so many things that I could do for this summer and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't even know if I'm going to stay in China, guys. I might be leaving China. You know, where would you recommend I go to after China? I've given China 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. So, I could stay another year because China's still a great place to make money and it's still a wonderful place to live. Again, when I came back from Vietnam, and I got to the Zhuhai port, I wanted to kiss the ground because the air was clean, it was fresh air, and it was quiet. You have motorbikes everywhere. It was just wonderful. It was mine too. Being in is not the same as in the old days. So Jackie, does that mean because you're a higher rank, or that you know different administrations and things like that from when we were in? Lots happened since I was in for 15 years. It was like a blank check when we were in. Nowadays you have so much more accountability, I guess. Thank you for watching my vlogs. I'm glad you watched them. I'm glad we're still in touch. Get a Chinese girlfriend. It's not that easy, brother. You make it sound like I could just go down to Walmart to aisle 10 and pick up a Chinese girlfriend. It doesn't work like that. I've had my share of girlfriends. It's not a big deal. Changsha. I've been to Changsha. I love Hunan, dude. Hunan is awesome. Hunan food is my favorite Chinese food. And I loved Hunan. No, don't go to Changsha, he says. Okay. I looked into getting a job at Hunan University, and that is something that is a possibility for the future to teach at Hunan University. Um, I the city of Changsha itself was just like any other Chinese city. It was big and vibrant and fun, but the surrounding areas was fascinating to me. The mountains are just so beautiful there. Um, have you heard a Noj? Sabu? I don't know what that is. What is that? Okay, so she wants to see the live stream, what it's like right now. Okay, so let's do this. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here it is. All right. Because again, they don't have YouTube here in China, so you have to show them this is what it looks like. You're so vain. Carly Simon, you're so vain. Again, the 70s, best time to learn from music. Have you heard about Drew Binsky? No. Who's Drew Binsky? Don't know that name. I make daily travel videos with 150 million views. Okay, don't know this guy. So he travels. He's a travel vlogger. He travels the world. I'm not familiar with him. Let's take a look. Drew Binksley. As far as travel vloggers go, the one that I don't really watch too many travel vloggers. I don't know if I'm a travel vlogger or not. I just kind of make videos of things I think are interesting. Okay, this guy looks cool. I'm gonna have to check this guy out. He's only 26 years old. He's a young guy from Scottsdale, Arizona. He's going to every country in the world. Good for him, man. That's a lifelong dream to check out every country in the world. There's a guy called The Life of Jord, I guess. He's a British dude. He's got pretty decent videos. I'm a fan of his. Yeah, I'm looking at his video right now. Consider Korea for your next journey or adventure. That's a good idea. I originally was going to go to Korea before China. I did all the paperwork to do the EPIC program there when I was first getting into teaching English. And at the last minute, I decided against it. At the last minute, I said, no, Korea, I'm going to do China because Korea was just small. Korea would be cool to check out. It seems awesome there. I did a lot of research on it. I have a lot of friends who have taught there. It just seems really, it's a possibility. Sorry, he's got a, oh. So late. Okay. Yeah. I am in China now. We have our own way to use YouTube. I know, we do. But not everyone has that. And not everyone wants to have that. Especially the locals, some of them are just fine not having, the means to watch YouTube. They don't want to hassle with it. They're just quite content with the intranet that they have here in China. And that's fine. And every now and then, like a friend of mine will come up to me and say, "Hey, I just got access. Is this yours?" And I'm like, yeah, these are my videos. So, especially the locals here in Zhongshan, they seem to love. No, they're not legal here. Sorry, they are illegal in China. They have legal ones that you can use. They are yes, they're illegal to. The government does use them, and those are the ones you're allowed to use. You can use the government licensed VPNs. But the people that get in trouble are the ones that sell the illegal ones and use the illegal ones. You can get in trouble for using an unlicensed VPN. So those are the ones people get in trouble with. I think Japan is more westernized. I haven't been to Japan, so I don't know. I met a couple of teachers from Korea. Down in, where was I? I was in Da Nang. I was at a taco shop in Da Nang, and met two teachers, English teachers in the EPIC program from Korea. And I started talking, oh, Korea must be awesome, right? And they were comparing it to Japan. I said Japan is much more, not necessarily westernized, but more developed. Korea is developed in certain areas, but you scratch the surface, you go right outside the town, it's still a lot of poverty, and they're still developing a lot, which surprised me. I thought Korea was more developed and more like Japan, and apparently a lot of people make that distinction, that South Korea is similar to Japan, and apparently Japan is way above them. That's what I heard from these teachers. Legal ones are under watching. Yes, they are. So if you're illegal, you're being monitored, and that's fine. I think the one I use is legal. It's a very common one. And if they watch me, I have no problem with that. I don't break any rules regarding that. So just follow the rules. Just follow the laws. The people that get in trouble are the people that can't keep their mouth shut. You don't have freedom of speech here. You can say certain things. You can talk about certain things, and you cannot talk about other things. Just don't talk about those things, and don't say certain things, and you won't get in trouble. It's not that I don't want to or I don't have the balls to talk about it. It's just it's not allowed. So I don't do it. I get a lot of flack from some Americans about my channel, and that it's like, oh, China's so wonderful, Paul. You don't say anything bad about China. Well, I don't think that's necessarily true. I point the camera at what I see, and you make your own assumptions. But I don't make videos that specifically target the bad things about China because I made one video about pollution in China, but it was more like me just going through my day trying to cope. And, I just showed, oh, look at the pollution in the air, and it hurts my eyes. But it wasn't a blanket statement like, oh, China has this problem. You can't do videos like that. And if you do, you'll get in trouble. It's not like the Chinese government wants to put the air pollution sweeping under the rug and they'll talk about it. Everyone knows about it, including the government. That's why they are doing things now to make the pollution problem better. They're addressing it. They're promoting electric vehicles. They're promoting solar and alternative energy. Even though they still have a lot of coal, they've got to wane off of that a little bit. They're promoting new technologies to clean the air and to clean the water and everything. And it's going to take a while, but I honestly believe this because it is a one-party system. They'll actually be able to solve these problems faster than they do in the West, in Western countries. So, I can't talk. I'm from LA, where we have bad air pollution. But I remember when I was a kid in LA, the air pollution was really bad. And now they have all these new laws, and the air pollution is still kind of bad sometimes, some days in LA, but it is much cleaner than it has been in the past. I think you'll see the same thing happen here. You're going to see the air clean up really fast. Again, just coming from Vietnam, which is a developing country, and all the air pollution just walking down the street and hurting your eyes just on the bottom level was unbearable. You couldn't go outside, and everyone I saw walking around with masks in Hanoi and in Saigon because the pollution was that bad. When I came to China, it was like night and day. Here in Zhongshan, you have more cars, but the cars have better technology for air pollution. And then you had more electric bikes and the more electric cars, and you have motorbikes. So not only is the noise pollution less, but the air pollution is less coming from the cars. Also, the buses are all electric here. They're all electric buses. In Vietnam, they're all spewing diesel. You have truck traffic here, bad diesel and stuff. But again, it's getting better. Just don't talk about politics in China. I think you can talk about politics in China. It's a good rule of thumb not to, just so you don't say something stupid. But I mean, you can talk about politics. You can talk about anything really, so long as it's pretty obvious to what to talk about, what not to talk about. I found air pollution in Shanghai no worse than Manchester and London. Exactly. Shanghai, giant city. I didn't find when I was there, the air pollution was minimal. It was a big city. I didn't find any problem. I haven't been to Beijing. Apparently, Beijing's really bad, and a couple of other cities. I've been in Guangdong where the air pollution's pretty bad on certain days. Even in Zhongshan here, there's a couple of days where the pollution gets bad, but it's not a daily occurrence. In the north, I think the north has a bigger problem with it. But I think talking about the air pollution is just fine because they're doing something about it. I mean, China is the largest market for electric vehicles in the world. It's like double that of America. That's why Tesla is opening up the new factory here and stuff. And you go to a place like Shenzhen, all the taxi cabs are electric, everything's electric. They don't even allow motorbikes in the city in Shenzhen. They're banned. Here in Zhongshan, everyone's got an e-bike. You have the motorbikes, but I'd say about 70% of the bikes on the road are electric. All the buses are electric. It's wonderful. And a lot of the cities are banning e-bikes outright, and I think that's the wrong way to go. You need to embrace them. Yeah, it's a great form of transportation. You just need to enforce laws for licensing and things like this with it, and registration. All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk about out there? I got James Taylor on the boob, and I'm on my last drink here. So if not, I'm gonna call it up. Then gave Chinese permanent resident to Elon Musk. Yeah, that's fine. Elon Musk is bringing in a ton of business and investment. Give him a green card. You can get a permanent residence card for doing the same thing in America. I have students, business people who have American green cards. They're Chinese citizens, but they have American green cards too. Because I don't know how that works because you can't have dual citizenship. It's strange. But you can get a green card in America if you invest $250,000 in a local business. So it's very easy to buy a visa to America if you have the money. All right. Anything else, guys? Because I'm going to call it a night. Good talking with you. Great stream. I had a lot of fun. I'm all hopped up on cold medicine and a little bit of rum. So, have you heard about the Lonesome Loser? All right. Good night, you all. We'll take care. And thanks for watching and thanks for supporting me, guys. I appreciate it. Be on the lookout for all the Vietnam videos coming out in the next couple of weeks before I get back to the China. So appreciate it. Take care, guys.